Let's talk NFL trade rumors now around Morgan Moses, the Washington football team right tackle. The football team is allowing him to search for a trade, and we'll break down several different potential destinations, including the Denver Broncos, which I've seen linked multiple times, and I'm actually not sure is the best fit. But we'll get to that later. First, I want to focus on Moses, the player here. Now, he's got 2 years left on his contract at about $7.75 million per year. That's not ridiculously expensive. That's actually relatively affordable. The problem is, I wonder if opposing teams are starting to suspect if Moses is on the decline. Now, he did grade out pretty well by Pro Football Focus, but his actual raw numbers, I don't think were all that great. 5 sacks, 13 hits, and 20 hurries were all allowed last season. That is a little bit more than I think what you would want to see allowed out of a right tackle. Now, again, there's a lot of different reasons there in terms of what could possibly be going on, different excuses, rationale, whatever. The O-line was a bit banged up for Washington. The run grade was still really good, but I thought he got beat a little bit more than you want in pass protection. But Washington, when they drafted Samuel Cosmi and then signed Charles Leno after spending kind of early day 3, late day 2 picks on guys like Jerron Christian and Sadiq Charles, I was like, there's a weird numbers game going on at tackle. That puts it at 5 guys who could make the team without Morgan Moses. I didn't even put him on this depth chart to make it clear that you could roll with Leno and Cosmi and Christian and Charles and Lucas and go 5 deep at offensive tackle and probably kick one of those guys inside to guard as needed from that perspective. So I get why Washington is open to trading him. Now, I did want to go through, I've looked through some different articles and suggestions and reports out there. 6 teams have kind of popped up as potential fits. The Denver Broncos, who we'll get to more in depth in a second. The Cincinnati Bengals, who, okay, that's intriguing to me. The Pittsburgh Steelers. The Arizona Cardinals, who I think they're really more or less fine on the offensive tackle spot there. The New York Jets actually do intrigue me quite a bit, and the Falcons as well. But I think Denver is getting grouped in with the, right tackle, Jawan James, by people who more or less forgot that the Denver Broncos have kind of taken care of their situation on the offense, as far as I'm concerned from that perspective. You're going to, of course, have Garrett Bowles lined up there at the left tackle spot. And they have signed both Bobby Massey and Cameron Fleming at right tackle. Now, are those guys great right tackles? Not necessarily. Are they better than Morgan Moses? I'm not entirely sure. But I do think Denver has committed to their right tackle position. I think they're going to roll with Bobby Massey. I think he's the guy for this team this year. Like, that's what I think the path is here for the Denver Broncos. They're not going to go after Morgan Moses. So if this had happened like 2 weeks ago, which is on Washington in the end, it would have been a logical fit. Because of that, I don't think it ends up being in Denver. And I don't even know in the end if Moses gets traded. So get your votes in for me. What do you guys think will end up happening here? Will the Washington football team find a trade partner for Morgan Moses? Get your votes in right now. Type in A for yes, they will, or type in B for no. We're once again chatting Aaron Rodgers trade now because Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated has put together quite a trade package. Now, as I'm sure you guys are fully aware here, the Rodgers trade rumors simply will not go away. They are absolutely everywhere. They're consistently mentioned in major media outlets, and the Denver Broncos are always one of the teams linked to Aaron Rodgers. I think for a pretty decent reason there. There's a good connection in terms of the fit and the role there in the end. So Albert Breer put together a ridiculously expensive trade package for Aaron Rodgers members. So here it is, right? The Denver Broncos, of course, get Aaron Rodgers in this trade, a 2022 4th-round pick, and then they give up Drew Lock, Bradley Chubb, Dalton Risner, 3 first-round picks, one each year from 2022, 2023, and in 2024, and a 2022 second-round selection. This is a massive trade offer. I mean, the package that's been put together here by Albert Breer is huge. 3 potential starters, 3 first-round picks, and a second-rounder for a on the wrong side of 35-year-old quarterback. That is expensive. So who says no? Who do you think would say no to this trade? Get your votes in. Type in GB for the Green Bay Packers or type in D for the Denver Broncos, or just G for the Green Bay Packers, excuse me. In the end, I think Denver says no to this trade. I'm a big fan of Aaron Rodgers. I am. I mean, the year he put together in 2020 was one of the best quarterback years we've seen put together. Like, I think we would all more or less agree with that one. That is a massive, massive haul and deal for the quarterback. And he's great. Don't get me wrong there. But the pieces that Denver's giving up, it's a lot. And I get it, some of you just want to find your franchise quarterback, right? Bradley Chubb. You're going to pay him and make him your number 1 edge rusher, right? So now you got to go find a new edge to help replace him and help identify that position of need. I love Dalton Rinser. Now, I think Green Bay would love to get him, but can I offer Lloyd Cushenberry instead, or Netani Muti, or can I get them, Quinn Miners? That intrigues me. I love Rinser. I don't want to move on from him. And at some level, I get it. You're giving up value to get one of the premier quarterbacks in the NFL. I understand that. But also 3 first-round picks, and I get those 3 first-round picks are kind of devalued because of just, the where Denver would be drafting with Aaron Rodgers. I kind of think it's too much. Now, at some level, that's what I would be asking for if I were Green Bay. And that's the type of offer I think would have to be put together if Green Bay really was not even interested in moving on from Aaron Rodgers. But I think Rodgers is kind of forcing himself out. And once you reach that stage, I think the value does get dropped down. I get moving on 3 first-round picks and a second-rounder. A player or 2 as well. Both guys, it's probably a little bit too much. Give up both Rinser and Chubb. As good and great as Aaron Rodgers is, he's 37. You would have to win a Super Bowl for that trade to be worth it in the end if you're Denver. So get your votes in here right now for me. Is this too much? Is that trade package too expensive for Aaron Rodgers? Get your votes in right now. Type in Y for yes it is, or type in N for no it's not. I did want to hit some Denver Broncos wide receiver updates right now as well. Beginning with Courtland Sutton, who, as I'm sure every Broncos fan out there watching right now is fully aware, he's coming off the torn ACL. He's hyping up his rehab, saying, hey, he's going to be good to go, and he's going to be able to play in week 1 for the Denver Broncos. Everything looks good on that front there, and that's very, very exciting, all that good stuff. So I think that's a positive sign there from Sutton. Here's what he had to say specifically, though, knowing that, of course, it is, after all, best shape of life season. Quote from Sutton, to be at the stage that I'm at right now, post-surgery, and to be able to go out and do what I do, and it feels the way it does, it gives me hope and promise for the future, because I'm only going to continue to attack rehab as I have, even into the season. Just continue to make sure I'm taking care of my temple. We don't often get the quotes of my body's a temple from NFL players, but we have it right here from Courtland Sutton. And I think for Denver, amid uncertainty around the quarterback position here, the expectation, or at least hope, is that Sutton can recapture the very, very promising form we saw out of him in 2019 when he pulled in 72 catches for well over 1,000 yards, 1,012 to be exact there, and 6 touchdowns. So I like what I've seen previously out of Courtland Sutton. So I'm going to present this question here for you guys. Over or under? Is Courtland Sutton, we'll base it on yards, going to have a career year? Will he beat what he did in 2019? Over or under 1,113? Get your votes in the comment section right now. Type O for over or type in U for under. Now, this is where the Denver Broncos currently sit here at wide receiver. The reason why maybe you're like, maybe the under could actually end up hitting there in the end, there's Sutton. There's also Jerry Jeudy, however, which is a potential red flag there in the end, because he's a good football player if he can remember how to catch again. So I think Jeudy will cut in to some of the touches and targets in the long run from Courtland Sutton. There's also KJ Hamler, What role is he going to play for the organization? Is he going to be heavily involved? Tim Patrick's back as well. Denver has some good bodies at receiver. It's a matter of how they divvy up all those potential targets. They also brought in somebody new. One more receiver update here for you guys. Damian Willis, who has bounced around the NFL a little bit here, spent some time most notably with the Cincinnati Bengals, but Denver is his new team. And the move, of course, comes after Deshaun Hamilton's injury. Hamilton was probably not going to make the team. They were going to trade him anyway, but I think Denver wanted to find a way to have some depth at the back end of that wide receiver roster there. So I think Damian Willis comes in. He ends up being the back of the rotation, preseason type of guy, maybe a practice squatter. In terms of actually making the 53-man roster, I think that's asking a little bit too much out of the player right now.